Greetings, everyone. It is time once again for Brony Debates Live. I hope you're all doing well out there. Let's get a good start to the weekend. So here's what happened. As you noticed, throughout the month of February, we've been doing Valentine's Day, or more specifically, if you will, Hearts and Hooves Day related topics, which have been suggested by Princess Heather Blossom. There was a couple we haven't gotten to yet, and we couldn't decide which one we wanted to do. So we're going to do all of them, or both of them tonight. Hence the title, The Love Lightning Round. And with me, I've got Cordero and Princess Heather Blossom. Heather, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. I got fries and I got strawberry soda.
Alrighty then. And Cordero, how are you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Love Lightning Round. Put your Love Lightning Round topic suggestion in chat, and we absolutely promise we'll get to it.
Boy, you're gonna make this stream take.
It's a 10-hour stream.
You know something? If they're tipping, it sounds good. And we're very grateful to all the tips we get. There's a tip link in the description, as well as other ways to support. If you prefer, there's Patreon, Ko-fi, or Subscribestar, or TeePublic if you want to get some merch. If you want to tip, it'll drop a little stone in the bowl on the little Brawny on the right side of the screen there, and it'll read out a message for you. Grateful to all of the supporters on Patreon, especially the $10 and up tier. We got Princess Heather Blossom who's with us, Pony Cordero who's with us, Shady Oak Ministries, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Senko, DJ Skywalker, Rein-Kun, Morningstar, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden, MacManx, EasyModeGamer, Kanto Acrylic VA, Mr. Sonic 31, Ridge the Hedgehog, Alicia Lynette, Zeta Z, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. Check out all their links in the description. Anyway, let's start with the first one, which, so which one do we want to start off with? We've got, so the two of Heather's suggestions that we didn't get to yet were, which of the friendship is magic marriages are the strongest, and what are the pros and cons of online dating? Which one do we want to tackle first? Heather, I'll let you pick.
I feel like we should go through the marriages of My Little Pony first because there were just a few of them, so I think we can get through that kind of quickly, and then get into the online dating stuff because I feel like that's something we'll expand upon further and might take up more of the stream.
Yeah, you think that's the more robust one?
Yeah, definitely.
So there's let's see if we can remember all of the marriages. There was obviously the cakes,
Cheese and Pinky.
Cheese and Pinky.
Shining Armor and Cadence.
Shining Armor and Cadence, and Big Macintosh and Sugar Bill. You guys are quicker at remembering the names than I am. And yeah, I think that was it for like confirmed canon. Then they like implied
Applejack's parents.
Applejack's parents.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Rarity's parents.
Rarity's parents.
Well, we talked about those two. Like
Rainbow Dash's parents, Fluttershy's parents.
Yeah.
Scootaloo's parents.
Cranky and Matilda. Oh, thank you, Cosmina and Spira.
Yeah.
Cranky and Matilda. That's true.
So why don't we each just pick one?
Lyra and Bonbon.
No. We're not doing this again.
And to be fair, we don't see much of their marriage.
Indeed. Oh, man.
Other than bedroom eyes.
Yeah.
Twilight's parents. Yeah, like all of the parents. Did we see everyone's parents?
Yeah,
Pinky's parents.
We saw everybody's parents.
Yeah.
So that it was pretty interesting seeing all the different like types of like marriages out there. But actually, you know something, when it came to the parents of the main six, there was a lot more like common ground between them. Like both of Twilight's parents were nutcases. Both of Rainbow Dash's parents were yeah, they were
nuts for her.
Yeah, well, they were very like high energy personalities.
And Twilight's parents were?
Yeah.
Like I remember that episode where we finally met them, and I remember being sad that they didn't characterize them the way I did, but I was very I can get over that because my characterization was very specific. But I remember them being forgettable because I don't remember her parents' personalities at all, other than they were parents.
So her mother was like a thrill seeker, and her father was just this really eccentric, like, bookworm, and they were both crazy in their own way.
Okay, so they tried to make them interesting and failed. Got it.
Okay,
that's what happened. That's what happened.
I had no problem with it, but anyway, more to my point. Like, Shy's parents were both really shy and really introverted and really quiet. Pinky's parents were both Amish, so we get a lot of very similar, like, personality types in there.
Limestone had a suspiciously smooth rock underneath her bed.
I suppose so. Oh, jeez. Oh, I just got the joke. Freaking get that off my stream.
Say the line. Say the line.
Oh, God, the implications.
Yeah, aren't you getting sick of your own catchphrase?
Sound more happy about it.
You know what? If I sold any other T-shirts, I would. But so far, that's the oh God, the implications ones is the only one that sells. But anyway, and then Applejack's parents were both farmers. So, there wasn't really a whole lot of a difference there in terms of, like, the main six. But when we got to Cranky and Matilda was really nice, and Cranky was really not. He was
that was really playing on a trope that we'd seen before. Like, think of Dennis the Menace, like the neighbor and his wife, and think of that 70s show of Kitty and Red Foreman. It's playing off of that old trope of grumpy old man but sweet old woman. Courage the Cowardly Dog, frickin' Muriel and Eustace. That's just a trope, man.
Yeah, definitely. So there's...
Yeah.
So which one of those... I'm seeing in the chat we're also, like, talking about Diamond Tiara's parents. I would not.
Oh my God, I'd love to talk about that.
I would not say
we see so little of them.
I would not say that is a strong marriage.
Yeah, Filthy Rich.
Yes, it is. As long as Filthy Rich is rich, she'll be happy.
Yeah, Filthy Rich and Diamond Cunt. I don't remember what her name was.
Spoiled Milk. I mean, Spoiled Rich.
Yes.
Yeah, Spoiled Rich. It should have been Spoiled Milk. I like Spoiled Milk.
It was Spoiled Milk until she got married.
Yeah, she changed her last name.
Oh, I forgot that was real. I my brain was remembering that as, like, a fan name thing, but yeah, that was real.
Yeah, who the heck names their kid Spoiled Milk?
I don't know.
Parents who are assholes and made her the
Who names their child
today.
Granny Smith?
Well, at least that's an actual apple, but we're
at least it's an apple. Yeah.
Yeah, at least that's an actual, like, type of apple. Like, you could get away with that. It doesn't necessarily need to be Granny, and it just turns out to be a nice, self-fulfilling pun prophecy later. But we're getting off topic.
Maybe it was Annie Smith, and then as she got older, they're like, "You're a Granny Smith."
Is there such thing as an Annie Smith apple?
No.
Well, there you go.
She just had a really weird human name.
I guess so.
Can you imagine being, like, a teenager with the name Granny? Hey, Granny.
I don't think Granny Smith went to school.
I like imagining that Granny Smith, because we've seen Granny Smith young, especially, like, Zap Apple episode and other times. I'm just imagining that she looks young, just like she does in the flashbacks, but she has the exact same voice by Tabitha St. Germain. So just a young Granny Smith going, "I'm going on down to school, Mom and Dad. I'll be home in time to book the apples. You'll see."
Yeah, that would...
That's now my headcanon.
That would be horribly disturbing. I'm pretty sure there's episodes where she was young and talked. Anyway...
Did she? I'm sure she did. Like,
yeah.
I'm literally rewatching the show with someone else, like, showing them the show, and we're going slow. We're still in season 2, but it's, like, it's really cool. It's seeing all the stuff and that I don't remember. Apparently, there's a lot of things I need to refresh on.
Yeah. Well, there was like 230 episodes. It's a lot to remember. Heather, what do you think is the strongest marriage in Friendship is Magic?
For my vote, I'm going to go Shining Armor and Princess Cadence.
Why?
They had their little meet cute because, like, they had a foundation of being high school sweethearts. And then they went through quite a few traumatic incidents together. And, if you're still together after so many traumatic incidents, your relationship is all that much stronger. You survived, like, 3 invasions or something.
All right. That's a pretty good point. And Cordero, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Twilight's parents.
Really?
Ooh.
And I'm basing it off of the product of their offspring, or the accomplishments of their offspring. So
That's a good point.
Twilight's
That's a good
parents were not nobility, yet they raised two princes, a prince and princess. They raised two members of royalty who turned out to be members of royalty, and one of them ascended to an alicorn. And one of them ended up marrying another princess, which is how he became royalty, and spawned more royalty himself. So, like, Twilight's parents are killing it. A bunch of commoners are now a dynasty.
You know what this is starting to sound like to me? That one Chinese TikToker, and he, you know, I don't know his name, but he's the emotional damage guy, right?
Oh, Stephen
Okay.
Hayes.
Yeah, and he's got another series of skits where it's like two Chinese parents, like in a pissing contest about which one of their kids is
Kids did better.
Yeah, and it's
Twilight
like,
parents win that with everyone.
yeah, hands down. He's like, oh, my son graduated Harvard. He's 8. You know.
Yeah, that's a funny
And
skit.
they go, my
idea.
daughter, my son married princess, and my daughter ascend to alicornhood. What's your son do?
Yeah, what's your kid
That's
done?
not-
Can literally top everyone else. Like Rainbow Dash's parents could be like, we raised a Wonderbolt and an Element of Harmony user who saved the world many times. That's cool. Both of our kids are royalty, and so are their
And
kids.
also
And
we raised a dragon.
none of your kids would have had any of those accomplishments if it wasn't for
Without my
kid.
kid.
My kid literally
My kid
tied
made
them
your
all
kid.
together.
But fellas, this shows that they're good parents. But are they good partners to each other? They're definitely great partners for being parents. But is that the
Presumably.
same thing?
Presumably, they seem to get along fine
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Just
with
fine.
like the one episode.
Yeah, for the one episode, I did. There
Hey,
certainly wasn't like any apparent tension.
A pair, yeah, and they turned into a plant and a cactus, and they got through that together. Like, I'm sure
I
they
guess
both.
that's one traumatic incident.
Yeah, I'm sure they both still go to therapy over being turned into inanimate objects and having this like blank spot in their life. Yeah. How much of an existential horror do you think Twilight's turning into a plant was?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Did
I
it
have
just
no-
blink and it was like no time passed? It was like it didn't happen for them and they don't remember anything from the time, or were they somewhat conscious in their inanimate bodies and it was awful? I'm just gonna write this as a one-off.
Alrighty then.
The POV of Twilight's parents becoming plants, and just write it as as psychological horror short story.
Jeez.
My,
You know what? I'm gonna look up that clip from the Cutie Mark Chronicles, and we'll oh, you caught a little bit of the audio there, but yeah, let me see if I can like find the part where it happens, and I'll share the
What,
screen.
in Discord?
Yeah, hang on just a second.
You should find a way to share screen on the debate so you can like show the audience stuff. Like,
Yeah,
imagine if we could throw up visuals.
I can. I just gotta mess around in OBS for a little bit.
I gotta say, while he's doing that, I gotta say, what do you think is more traumatizing? Being turned into inanimate objects for like 2 minutes, or like being brainwashed by a succubus bug lady and and also being imprisoned in an underground mine, dark and alone, for probably days on end with no food or water?
It honestly depends if you can conceive the fact that you're inanimate or not. Because like I said, if it's a blink and it's like, whoa, what happened? Then you're probably fine. But if you can conceive that you're inanimate, then that's definitely the worst one. That's absolutely the worst one, and I will prove it by writing the short story.
Okay, so check this out, guys. Here's the scene, and they're writing, and Sonic Rain Boom. So there's an argument that I'll bet you that the Rainbow Dash's parents and Twilight's parents have. If it wasn't for the Rain Boom, my kid wouldn't have got the cutie mark. Well, if my kid wouldn't have got the cutie mark, then Rainbow Dash would have never been significant to anything. So Twilight explodes and turns this whole group here, and then there's the parents being turned into plants.
Where are you posting? I don't see it on Discord or anything.
Oh, shoot.
I'm seeing it on the stream now.
Oh, now I see it on the stream.
That's right. 10 seconds behind. I forget about that.
Yeah, because we're 10 seconds ahead of the audience.
Discord.
Now I see it.
Discord.
Howling at the moon.
Yeah. All right, so there we go. Baby Dragon. Celestia's like, what the heck? Twilight's having a spaz attack here. Hyperactive 5-year-old. Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
So gets a handle on it.
I remember.
Okay, so that
Twilight literally shakes it off. Twilight handles it better than Nightlight. Twilight literally Velvet literally shakes it off.
Yeah.
Watch. Look at this. Her dad. 1000% just had an existential crisis while he was a cactus.
Yeah, look at that face.
That face. Both of them did, but Twilight Velvet shook it off faster.
Twilight Velvet's like little shake is adorable, and I love it.
It is adorable. There's a GIF of it, and it's an amazing GIF.
Yep. Alrighty then. So yeah, they were definitely conscious during all of that. All right. So but how much does bonding over trauma bonding like that really matter?
We're peeking behind the curtain here, bro.
I want to put this argument in there. They didn't experience that together. They were just next to each other. They didn't and there's no guarantee they share the same experience. You could also argue that Shining Armor and Cadence were together for that Canterlot wedding fiasco, but they got through it. But then there was also the invasion from Sombra, which they did experience together as a family and grew from. So Twilight Velvet and Nightlight had this, but it's debatable if they had the exact same experiences. They were two different cactus. And I think the trauma bond is more intense with Shining Armor and Cadence.
So what do you think about that, Cordero?
We're arguing over whose trauma was worse and
who bonded better from it. I'm just saying, Cadence and Shining Armor have more trauma.
Quite possibly.
Remember when there was a freaking blizzard and then he threw her like a freaking spear,
like a javelin?
That's a strong marriage. She was so you know what? That's another argument. She was very trusting. They communicated without talking. She made eye contact with it, and he was like, "I know what you want me to do." She assumed with the position, and he freaking chucked her. That was awesome.
Because she could have taken off. She just needed the speed boost to help her get going.
It was so great. I want to rewatch just that scene.
Yeah, so that's...
Dude, everyone loves the wife throwing. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's...
I know.
It
was such a meme.
It was the perfect meme. I remember, for 3 years straight at Everfree Northwest, there was a Shining Armor fursuiter carrying around this giant styrofoam Cadence in that pose, and people would just chuck it down the hallways, back and forth in the freaking raves. It was just flying around the whole weekend, but... So
as the Shining Armor cosplayer screams, "Take my wife, please!"
So I think Heather's got a pretty valid point here. Given how in sync they are, it's definitely important for in a relationship to be able to understand each other on that level and be able to think quick and work together and be that level of trusting and have that level of strength to not only throw your wife in a metaphorical sense, but also to be thrown in a metaphorical sense.
Okay.
Yeah, Brawny, are we even on that level yet? Shit, could you throw me like a javelin?
I certainly could, but are you ready to be thrown?
No, because I can't fly.
You're about to get shot-putted.
Shit. He threw me around before, if that helps.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god, I hope there's a moment
debate
in your series, just a side thing, in your series of Buck to the Face, where you do throw me.
That hasn't happened yet?
I'll figure that out.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I don't think it has.
It's shocking.
Well,
so we were debating over who was the best married couple, but can we go over who's the worst? I feel like that would be way more fun.
Yes.
And I have one in my head too.
Tell me who it is.
Worse than Diamond Tiara or Diamond Cunt and Filthy Rich.
I could make a debate for them for why they're probably a healthy couple, but continue.
Well, they're not as bad. Just because the wife is a bitch doesn't mean they have a bad relationship necessarily.
Yeah, They totally
They might get along fine.
He's a
Filthy
simp.
Rich actually seems like a cool dude. Filthy Rich actually seems like a cool dude in the Equestria universe. Like freaking Equestria Girls, not so much, but like Filthy Rich is shown to be like, he was young,
chill,
he was
actually.
kind of like confrontational. He's super chill. He has a good relationship with the Apple family. He's pretty chill. It's freaking spoiled Rich who likes to show off, and I feel like that could be from a tough upbringing. Her freaking name was Spoiled Milk before she married Filthy Rich. And that's probably why I think with him, she's probably super nice, because that's the man that changed her whole freaking life and makes sure she lives the good life now. And there's probably a reason he likes her. There has to be. It's just,
I am more willing to
have
believe with a personality like that despite all of his business savvy and inheriting his family's wealth, Filthy Rich is a simp. She's a gold digger, and she trapped him with Diamond Tiara. I am way more. That is way easier for me to believe with my life experience.
We at least know that Spoiled Rich is involved in her daughter's life because she's a member of the PTA, and she's she's doing it terribly, but she's doing a lot of the parenting.
Yeah, she's a helicopter parent, but she's very supportive and loving. So
totally.
Their parenting and relationship has flaws, but it's definitely not the worst one in the show. The worst married couple in the show is Fluttershy's parents.
Because they raised Zephyr Breeze. Yeah, that's right. You call him Vape Smoke. Yeah, you got to be a pretty dang bad parent to raise someone like Zephyr Breeze.
And the fact that Fluttershy turned out all right has nothing to do with them being good parents. That's just how resilient and how much strength of character Fluttershy ended up having. But they are wishy-washy, enabling morons. They are spineless cowards. They're not just shy. Fluttershy is shy, but even at her worst, I would not have called Fluttershy a spineless coward, even in episode 1. They are spineless cowards who enabled their son to be awful, and now they are living with their mistake. They actually deserve everything that he is. They deserve to have to deal with him.
Oh, geez, no.
I wouldn't. Jobless ass.
I wouldn't.
They do deserve him. They created him. Therefore, they deserve what he is now because they enabled him to become that way.
Listen, I've had siblings like him. I would not put that on anybody. I don't think anybody. I would not say anybody deserves that.
I am assuming, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but I am assuming that Zephyr Breeze isn't just, we tried our best, but for some reason he's just lazy. I think that he might have turned out fine and that they punted on Zephyr Breeze just because of enabling behavior. I really think nature over nurture. I really think the parents' influence has a lot to do with it. And sometimes kids just suck and it's not the parents' fault. I don't think that's the case with Zephyr Breeze.
I
think he was manufactured by the parents.
Running off your assumptions, I would say Fluttershy probably came about the way she was because of the people around her outside of her own immediate family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fluttershy got out of
Rainbow Dash for the longest self, and she had her own house. But season 1 Fluttershy, I found moderately frustrating sometimes to a degree, and she got better and better with time. So we've seen her grow into a more complete person as time progresses. So
absolutely,
she had a lot of time away from her parents to unlearn their habits.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Fluttershy left her house. We see her in the Cutie Mark Chronicles. She freaking moved to Ponyville by way of falling out of the sky, literally, when she was 12 or something like that. So that's she's had plenty of time.
Or four, depending on which theory of adolescence you go with for My Little Pony.
I know, right? And
let's go with 12.
Yeah,
let's not do the ponies are grown-ups at 10 headcanon because there's so many problems with that one.
Yeah, but
logically it makes logical sense, but from a hey, this is awkward and what does it mean to be a minor sense, it's awful. It's, you know what? Never mind. They're just human ages.
Indeed. So yeah, the point is she was off on her own and independent at a very young age and had plenty of time to develop away from her family and not be exposed to Zephyr's abuse.
Absolutely.
If we're rating marriages now purely off of how the marriage, the product of the marriage, the child ends up, I guess we could say Twilight Velvet and Nightlight are the best marriage because they made the best kids. So who is second best to that, and who is the worst marriage purely off of their children?
Second
I
best.
think the chat. I think Harriman might have said it that Scootaloo's parents probably have the worst marriage because just see how they treat Scootaloo.
Probably.
Yeah, well, that's something I was gonna talk about for a second because I don't think that's a bad marriage because
Can I say before we get too far away? Can I say one thing about Fluttershy? Because I had one more point about that. I agree that the Fluttershy got better because she got away, but I even think that while she was growing up and living with her family, I think that from like a child onward, like as soon as she could speak, I think Fluttershy was the adult in the room in her household the entire time. And I think that part of what made Fluttershy better wasn't just her leaving. Her leaving is how she learned how to be social and really come into herself, but her sense of like responsibility and all of that, I think that was self-learned because there was a huge need in her family that her parents created by neglecting Zephyr Breeze and probably being neglectful in general. And Fluttershy saw that need rising up and filled that need. Notice how much responsibility she feels to take care of Zephyr Breeze, how she feels guilted into picking up her parents' slack. I think that's how it's been since she was a child. She was the adult in the room.
Here's a headcanon question for you, Cordero. Was Zephyr Breeze born before or after Fluttershy left for Ponyville?
Before. They're not that Is Zephyr Breeze the younger child?
Yeah.
Okay. I could believe it both ways. I could see it both ways. But he's canon, the younger child. Yeah, he was definitely already born. There's no way that she's 12 years older than him, or more. I don't believe that.
Now, do you think he would have?
Because he's introduced as an adult.
Yeah.
He's basically introduced as an adult, so that would make Fluttershy would have to be like my age during the show.
Yeah, when he was introduced, he's out of school and supposedly trying to go to college.
Yeah. So they were born within a year or so, like normal. Well, I say that, but there's plenty of normal siblings who are born 5, 6, 8 years apart, 13 years apart.
Okay.
That's not, so you know what I mean? Like a pretty common is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. So let me talk about Scootaloo's parents for a second. I don't remember their names. Somebody help me remember their names. But
I don't know, girl.
They work really well together, and they have a common goal and common life value. I think their marriage is very strong, actually, because they can fulfill their purpose with each other and on the same path without any trouble and without any sort of conflict in that regard, which is extremely important. That doesn't mean they're good parents, though, and that's what
you're saying. Because as far as we can see, they get along very well.
Yeah, and they do. They work together. They're very in sync. They have their purpose, and they're walking the same path. Like we talked about on the last debate, or when we were talking about Scootaloo, however long ago that was. They definitely.
A month ago.
Yeah, that was in January actually. They definitely are not good parents, but I think there's a lot more to marriage than just being good parents. And something that I've heard marriage counselors say is that while it is important, if at all possible, to stay together for the kids actually should not be above all in the marriage. Like, you still got to be able to take time for each other and to be a married couple, which helps the longevity of the marriage. I don't know. I'm not married, and I'm certainly not that old, so I'm just sort of repeating what I've heard. So
okay. Well, I've heard most of what you said, but I think I spaced out at the critical moment where you said which parents we're talking about, and I failed to pick it up in context. Which parents are you talking about?
Scootaloo's parents.
Scootaloo's parents. That's right. Scootaloo's
so
parents.
it's a matter of they're really good for each other. They're not really good parents. Okay. And while parenting is an aspect of marriage, and it's very important to stay together for the sake of the kid whenever possible, it is certainly not everything, because it is still very important to have common goals, to have common hobbies, to have common values, and because otherwise you're not compatible. And they do that, and Scootaloo's parents do that very well. But like we said during the debate when we were talking about Scootaloo's parents and her character arc, she was almost 100% a mistake, like just not planned. And
obviously an unplanned pregnancy.
Right. So, but they can't, they have an important job to Equestria that's not good for themselves, or Equestria to abandon that, but it's incompatible with raising a kid. So, which is just a sucky situation for everybody. Now, as for the worst, I would certainly
they needed to find adoptive parents. They needed to put Scootaloo up for adoption, which is sort of what ended up happening anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Eventually, but yeah.
So
yeah, but I could debate the staying together for the kids thing. I think that that's a nuanced topic. Is that, like,
extremely
stay together for the kids? Because it's like, I think if you can stay together and have an amicable relationship, as in like not at each other's throats, and you can have a united parenting front for the kids, if you can manage that while being separated romantically, then yeah, I like the stay together for the kids idea. The problem is not every couple can do that, and if the relationship is going to be toxic by nature of you two aren't compatible anymore, it's actually better to put the kids through a divorce, in my opinion. And I think data backs that up.
Totally.
If you're going to have such a toxic household that the single household is worse than two households, go ahead and put the kids through a divorce.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. It's one of those situations where the whole thing sucks, and you've got to take it case by case to figure out what is the lesser of two evils.
Yes. Hence nuance.
Yeah, and that's not even bringing into like couples who should never been together to begin with are married, but then they bring kids into it and it just makes the whole situation worse. Take it from someone who is a product of one of those situations. Please divorce. Please divorce as soon as possible, as you know this situation is going to turn for the worse. Do not wait.
Yeah. But hey, if the parents can stand each other and they can, and they can behave for the kid, or at least get along and and the big thing is the united parenting front. So it's not like, it's not like a mom versus dad thing, or the kid is like playing both sides of the parents. You know what I mean? So like, it's the united front of what did your mom say? Your mom said no, I'm saying no. Like what your mom says goes, what your dad says goes. Instead of like, oh, your dad said that, well, to get back at him, I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? Like, the united front and the non-toxic thing is a requirement to stay together for the kids.
Yeah, no argument there. So in terms of the worst marriage, I actually do think it is spoiled rich and filthy rich, because of how certain I am that she's a gold digger who trapped him, and just her attitude and like it just like the affection from what I have seen of their interactions seems very one-sided, and Diamond Tiara would not come out that way, or at least be way less likely to have, developed that way if it had not been for the way her mother projects her narcissism onto. So I do not think that is a healthy, strong marriage.
I don't think anyone said it was. I think we just said they weren't the worst.
Well, Heather said she could make a case for it. So I will. Yeah, let's hear it, Heather.
Oh, finally. Okay, I could see why you would think that, because by the time we see them as a couple, the earliest point in the relationship we've seen is where the apples lie, that whole thing where Applejack was a dirty, dirty liar. But when Spoiled Rich was introduced as Spoiled Milk, they were only engaged then. And seeing at what age Applejack was, and the fact that we don't see Apple Bloom around, and considering they're the same age, Apple Bloom and Diamond Tiara must have been conceived around the same time.
Well, yeah, they're in the same class.
Exactly. She was I don't know if she would have been pregnant at that time. It's really hard to gauge time lapse, but you could definitely argue like, oh, they're probably only engaged because she's pregnant. She didn't look pregnant for sure, but it could have been early on. But
nah, Heather, this is Equestria. The people don't get pregnant out of wedlock here.
Well, then
it just doesn't happen. This is a good.
And they married for love. They married for love and money. I'd like to argue that they probably have not exactly a parasitic relationship, as you say, but a symbiotic one, because they're both getting what they want out of the relationship. Filthy Rich gets a hot wife, and maybe he even loves her. He seems like a decent guy, so he probably loves that bitch. And she's getting a freaking successful businessman who's stupid rich, getting her whatever she wants. They're both winning in the relationship. They're both getting what they want. We have not seen any indication that either of them are unhappy with the arrangement. The only one who is slightly unhappy is Diamond Tiara. And what does she have to complain about? My mom makes me think I need to be mean. Oh, boo-hoo. You have a fucking pool and a mansion. Grow up.
Wow.
That stuff definitely.
You have first world problems.
Material possessions 100% do not make up for a lack of genuine parental affection.
Love.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, as soon as Diamond Tiara started standing up for herself, spoiled rich sure as hell back down. Was like, oh shit, my daughter has a backbone. I guess I can only go to bossing around my husband.
And if the marriage isn't based on, like, if marriage is based on gold digging, are like they never work, and they always end up miserable, and like they're not going to show that in Friendship is Magic, but I am recognizing too many patterns here.
Yeah.
Totally. I can see the patterns, but as it stands right now, they're both getting what they want out of the relationship, and neither of them have reason to turn away. And especially spoiled rich is not letting filthy rich slip through her paws, seeing as you said, she trapped him with a kid.
Yeah.
18 years. 18 years. Yeah, when your kids got you for 18 years.
Take my money, making me pay child support. Once they get your social security number, it's over.
And on the 18th birthday, found out it wasn't his. Oh my God. Can somebody make a PMV of Spoiled Rich, of that song?
I probably could. I would need the song title. I'm actually not familiar with it.
Gold Digger by Kanye from like 2006?
Yeah, pardon me for not rotting my brain intentionally, okay? I don't drink alcohol either.
No, it's fine. It was just the biggest rap song to exist between 2000 and 2010. I can understand why you'd never heard of it. It was only played everywhere in the world at all times.
Yeah,
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah. So
what? I'm in
but
Bizarro
to be fair,
World.
I'm a little
Chris
white
hates
girl.
rap, and he knows what song that is.
Which song?
Gold Digger.
Oh,
Kanye.
yes.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it was like
wait,
it was a
the one that's
cultural
like, I
dynamo.
ain't saying she no gold digger.
Yes.
But I ain't never seen her with no broke N-words.
say it, Heather. Say it.
You could have
not
just
gonna
said
say
to
it.
broke. You could have just said broke to broke with the censored one, and everybody would have understood that what you were doing and avoiding. But now you've outlined it.
I didn't say it.
You have typed "NI" on Twitter. That's what you have just done.
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Listen, all I did was post "N" apropos of nothing in a comment section. I did nothing wrong.
I did nothing wrong. You can't convict me.
Okay,
You can't cancel me if I was never a thing.
That's true.
This is starting to sound like a League of Legends lobby.
Oh crap! No, I'll let you know when this is a League of Legends lobby. We're not even close.
So, have we come to a conclusion on who is the best and who is the worst?
I haven't talked about my best yet.
What's your best?
I think Cranky and Matilda is the best because they were destined for each other. That was they found their soulmate, and despite what seemed to be implied to be decades apart, they still found each other again, were still madly in love, and still had a marriage that I think we can safely assume lasted the rest of their lives. And I think that's
didn't have much left. They were really
and
old.
I think that's well, I think
Not that old. They were like
she was loyal and waited for however long it took, and I think that is a beautiful thing. All right, I think that, and when I reviewed. What was it? Slice of Life, where the episode where they got married, and I made an excuse to read Corinthians 13 throughout that moral of the story episode, because I do unironically believe that episode, that episode's B plot of setting up for the wedding, and what it took Cranky and Matilda to come together and be together at this point is an excellent demonstration of Corinthians 13, which for those of you in the audience who don't know,
is that love is patient, love is
yes,
kind,
that's
love
the
is
one that they read out at all the
$6.99
weddings.
plus tax.
Oh my God. Yes.
Love is patient, love is kind, love is all you do is 69.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, even
I'm not going to sit here and stand for this blasphemy on my stream. Just pull it back. I don't
think you want to pull that back. Put it back in.
I just want to go. I do not want to have to go to confessional again. Gosh darn it! I just got out of there.
As Corinthians 13,
anyway.
We will now read from Corinthians 13 for this wedding ceremony. Why does love always feel like a battlefield? A battlefield? A battlefield. Why does love always feel like a battlefield? Amen.
Anthony, officiate the wedding.
I accept.
I don't.
Yes. That's too bad.
We've turned into that meme with where Heather's like, I consent, and Cordero's like, I consent, and I'm like, I don't. Aren't you forgetting somebody?
Like Princess Bride, say marriage.
Marriage.
Oh my God.
All right.
Instead of I do, you have to say as you wish.
Instead of I do, I'm gonna say I woo.
It's like like they want me to have a heart attack before we even get there. Gamer Alien says, love is porn, love is war, love is mid.
Dang.
That didn't rhyme.
That had nothing to do with anything. It was just cringe. Get that cringe out of my chat.
Yeah, and go back to my comments section. I need more interactions.
Okay, so what do you guys think about my picks?
I think if Gamer Alien donates to the tip jar, we will change our mind and say that it wasn't cringe and that it was brilliant.
Good flex. Good flex. You know, I find it interesting that we all picked couples that were from different stages of life. Like mine was very much like newlyweds to, you know, still the fresh years of marriage. Cordero picked something that was kind of in the middle ground, kind of youngish parents, but getting in there. And you have one that were middle-aged to like golden years. So these are all very different phases of marriage. It's hard to rate.
Exactly. Like Twilight's parents are, you know, they're old enough to have adult children, but they're still hot.
Yeah.
Twilight still got it.
Twilight Velvet, you mean? I mean, Twilight Sparkle's got it, but Twilight Velvet, a little bit more.
Yes. Listen, once you've written the entire fan fiction about how Twilight's parents met, you get used to calling Twilight Velvet Twilight. So now it comes out naturally. Although that would probably confuse people if they weren't in on the context.
Indeed. I don't know if we're talking about whose parents are the hottest in old age. I would have put it to Dash's parents, the athletes.
Dash's no.
Dash mom's eye. Dash mom's eye, but dude, Twilight Velvet can get it.
Twilight. If I had to pick who was the hottest mom in all of them, counting all of them, man, this is tough. The hottest mom. Who's the hottest dad?
Rarity's
that's
dad.
A hard call.
JK.
That's a hard call.
Not with that frickin' Ron Jeremy stash.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Hottest dad might be Nightlight too. He's got like that elegant charm with the slick back hair. You know, good color scheme.
You know, just none of the parents have ever struck me real hard. You know, and I if I had to,
you're in the wrong corner of Derpyborough.
You know. Freaking, I think Buttercup was pretty cute. She's got that whole curly hair thing going on.
Is that Fluttershy's mom?
No, that's Applejack's.
No, Buttercup. That's Pear Butter. That's her nickname was Buttercup.
That's right. Buttercup was her nickname. Yeah.
I mean, she was young last time I saw her, but she looked pretty good.
That's true.
She was cute. She had a very cute design.
I will say,
Pony.
She died. She died, so she gets the benefit of staying forever hot. So like she just auto wins.
Paladin Pony T says, no, we are not talking about this.
No, too bad.
What is this?
Hold on, I haven't.
What is
picked
this?
Hottest
Say it out loud.
Yet.
Just this whole the battle of the MILFs thing that's going
I know.
on.
I want them to say out loud what it is they don't want us to talk about.
Rusty Helm's like, why is nobody talking about the Apple parents as we're talking about the Apple parents?
We're also 10 seconds ahead, so
yeah.
We're 10 seconds ahead.
Okay, so if I pick Dad, I would not say Brightmac. Brightmac's design kind of looks dumb. Hottest dad. Who's the hottest dad?
Shining Armor.
Could you at least not make those noises while you're
No. This is a very important decision I'm making right
Cordero
here.
just said Shining Armor. Is that not valid?
He's young. I was trying to be fair. Be like, okay, I'm going to look for the ones who will probably develop their dad bod by now.
The hottest dad with grown children.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair if he's 20 years younger. And honestly, I think
that included Cadence.
I honestly think Nightlight gives Shining Armor a run for his money. I really think that the bulky stallion look, this is funny look considering my profile or my OC. I really think that like the Big Mac bulky stallion look is not the best. I really think that the Nightlight male model, where you can see he clearly is masculine in the face and the expression, but he still has the more rounded like. But I think that is more attractive than like the bulky Big Mac look.
I think you guys.
Nightlight.
I think you guys are sleeping on Fluttershy's dad with his whole Ned Flanders aesthetic.
Okay, some
I
people
don't
have
know.
fetishes, and that's yours.
I gotta know if he's naughty underneath, because he's not. If he's not down, I'm not as into it. I know Nightlight's naughty.
They're either like super freaks or they are so vanilla. You know that.
You take a gamble. You take a gamble when you date someone like that. I still don't know if I've won. The silence is so deafening. Come on.
Cricket.
Damn
Cricket.
you.
How about this, Heather? Let's not do that in front of 15 frickin' people.
Oh, they're not gonna remember.
We're live on stream, you frickin' idiot.
Heather, is there anything else you would like to do in front of 15 different people?
Cordero, I swear to God, I will put my hand through your rib cage.
How?
Mine or hers?
I feel like we've gone off topic.
We have gone so far off topic.
Anyways, I guess we're not unanimously decided on who is the best. Have we unanimously decided who is the worst?
I don't think so, but I do think we all have like.
Because I said Fluttershy's parents. Nobody said that they disagreed with my Fluttershy's parents pick.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I think they probably make a good team of
any marriage that can
spineless
withstand
weirdos.
Zephyr Breeze should be commended. Right?
That's not fair. They didn't withstand it. They created it.
I guess so. It could certainly work both ways, but the point is
Fluttershy's mom queefed in the hospital, and a Zephyr Breeze came out.
Wow, that is
both the best and the worst bit I have ever done on this show simultaneously.
Yeah, I agree. Sweet God Almighty, I'm gonna have to live with these images in my head now.
You're welcome.
I'm going to kill you. That's the only way for me to cope now. All right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we've got some pretty valid points on both best and worst here for these things. So I think we should just move on before I get any more drama. The next topic that we had for tonight was the pros and cons of online dating. So I'm gonna start us off on this one. If you need to use an online dating service such as what is out there, Match.com, OkCupid, Christian Mingle,
Farmers Only.
Yeah, if you need Facebook, dating is a thing now. Craigslist. OnlyFans is not, but OnlyFans is not a dating website. But if this is about to play into the point. It does play into the point that I'm about to make. If you need these services, you need to instead work on yourself. You are not ready for a relationship if you're out there on eHarmony or anything tangentially related to it.
Okay, Boomer.
Yes. Because the only people, listen, I'm gonna own that, because the only people that use those are horrible,
That's generalizing.
immature people.
A lot of people like that do, but that's definitely not. We live in the modern age where using the internet to date is just a practical necessity and an obvious evolution of human culture. It's not like maybe in the 90s or early 2000s you could have made that argument, but now it's just, how do you network with other people and meet other people romantically? It used to be just the people in your community that you meet, but that's not good enough anymore. A lot of people have lifestyles where they can't just go out and meet people. Like, they go to school, they go to school or they go to work, and they just have the couple places in their life they go, and they just don't have the opportunity to meet new people. So it's like, you shouldn't have to just settle down with Betty in accounting, who you've known for 10 years, just because there's no other options in your life. You should be able to expand your dating pool, and the way we do that in the modern world is online dating services. Now, are there pros and cons to online dating services? Absolutely, and I'm definitely down to get into the cons of online dating with you, but I think it's insane to say that it is not a legitimate or viable way of matchmaking.
I think 90% of the time it is people 90%. Who...
Where are you getting these numbers from?
My own observation.
He just comes up with it.
This is what I have observed in life, okay? 90% of the time, listen, at least. You let me finish my sentence.
90% of experts say that 40% of all statistics are made up.
Yeah, listen, I'm telling you what I've seen, okay? 90% of the time, it's people that shouldn't be dating in the first place, using these things because they're desperate. Another probably 9% of the time, 9.9% of the time, it is prostitution. Okay, that's what it is. And then I will acknowledge the possibility that once every 10,000 years, when the planets align, someone actually finds the right match and it becomes a successful marriage through online dating services. And I am talking about online dating services because I am fully aware of the irony of Heather sitting there across the hallway, given that we technically met online, but even that was not an online dating service though. We met.
But no, you misunderstood my topic. I didn't even say online dating services. I said online dating. It is a very broad phrase. Is meeting people online and eventually dating them a part of online dating? Yes! Yes, it is!
I'm not
going to come through to this conversation because y'all take it forever. I can give you the best of both worlds because I've seen it work, I've seen it not work. I've been at both parts of the equation. I don't know about you two. I'm pretty sure Brawny's snobby ass has never been on a dating freaking site or whatever. I don't know about you, Cordero, but I have been. I've been an OkCupid user when I feel like there was a dry spell. And yes, the benefits you were saying of completely exist because I try to meet people maybe at school, but I ain't always got time for that. I don't want to hang around campus all day. I lived far away from school at some points in time, so I didn't want to do that. So it's a great way to hook up with people. And I don't mean that just sexually, but sometimes people, that's what they want. And you know what? I like that they're direct with what they want. I've had a few matches where we've matched and I'm just like, hey, what's up? And they're like, I'm only here for one thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm glad you told me so I can just see myself out and find someone who has the same goals as me. I like people who are honest with what they want out of something, which is like bringing that back to spoiled rich and filthy rich. They probably know exactly what the other is after, and that's why it works. Anyhow. But yes, it's like it's kind of a crapshoot. As a woman, I've never had a problem finding a match. I hear on the male side of things, it's a lot more difficult because, well, I don't know. There's just a disparity between men and women on online sites. You'd think there'd be the same amount of people trying to find people. But anyhow, I've never had trouble finding matches. Finding good ones, pretty difficult. I don't know how they tune those algorithms. I definitely matched with people I thought were attractive or at least sounded interesting in their bio and would maybe have something in common with me. especially since I tried to be upfront with the stuff I liked, because I need people to be able to handle my weird. I would say, yeah, dating sites, they aren't the best because a lot of times, at least in my case, you get a lot of desperate types that just will want to make anything work despite not really knowing anything about you and wanting to jump to things very, very quickly. It's very hard to find a connection that way where everyone you meet is kind of already jumping the gun, being like, okay, we're already a match. Let's go, go, go. Let's be a couple. Let me put my hand on your thigh and let's have this thing happen. And I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's a lot better to have things happen organically. So if you, after like something a little more quick and instant, then yeah, dating services would be the way to go. But then there's going into online communities, like in our situation, becoming a part of the Brony fandom and meeting people in chat rooms that like the same thing you do and not having that in mind initially, just becoming a part of the community and meeting people through there. That's a part of online dating, is becoming a part of a bigger community, just like you would in real life, honestly. Like if you were to join like a theater group at your local rec center or some crap like that, it's almost the same thing, but now the dating pool is even larger because you can meet people who are just in all these different places at once. Me and Brawny met when we weren't even living in the same state together, just as friends, and we met through friends of friends, all through the same online community, and it wouldn't have been possible any other way.
Now, I agree with all of that.
So I need to cop to this so I can clear my conscience. I did in fact misunderstand your suggestion, Heather, because I thought you were talking about online dating, and my brain immediately went to OkCupid.
Yeah, you're obsessed with it. I was not being strict with it. I wanted to talk about like dating, because we can get into the dating apps because some of them are really stupid, but it does make, dating people in a way more efficient because you can just be upfront with what you want, basically, with like just putting it in your bio, like, hey, I'm just here for hookups. Hey, I'm looking for a serious relationship. Hey, I'm a single mom with 3 kids. You got to be okay with that before you message. You just gotta, it's a good way to be very direct with things, but also being with the internet how it is, you can become a part of online communities and be connected to more people now more than ever. So it's now more possible to meet someone who is more compatible with you than, say, someone who just happens to work with you and you can deal with, Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
Brawny,
going to be a lot. I'm sorry. There's just one thing. There's going to be a lot less people who just stay alone forever because there's just so many people that they can possibly meet now, if I may make that statement.
And less people who find the wrong person as a result.
Exactly.
I think you have to admit, and you probably will now that we have the amended debate topic, that meeting somebody online is viable. It seemed like your criticism was specifically on dating website services.
You are mostly correct, yes. I can
agree.
I'm still very wary of it, and I don't, and like, Heather and I took a huge risk on each other, and I would have
meeting online in a community.
Yeah, but the whole online dating thing, and we became a couple while we were still long distance. That's a huge risk, and then her coming out to live with me is a huge risk, especially me. Like if I had been on the outside and I had been one of Heather's other friends, and it's like, hey, here's this dude I met online, we became friends, and then we grew interested in each other, and now I'm gonna go live with him. I'm gonna be like, okay, tell me about this guy. Oh, his name is Brawny Buck. He's this, and this. I would have been like, that's a horrible idea. That guy is no good. Stay away from him.
Are you saying that you're your own red flag?
Yes. At 100%, okay? I can barely keep a...
That's awesome.
I can barely keep a stable job, and I have anger management issues, all right?
Remember, kids, do as Brawny says, not as he does.
Yeah.
I will say, Brawny, there are men out there who don't clean their own buttholes and expect their girlfriends to be their mommies. The bar is pretty dang low.
The existence of words does not make this any better.
I mean, I don't have a problem with what's going on currently. You're a
I
pretty
know
good
you don't.
guy, Brawny. You just gotta know that, like, the bar may be low, but you're already hitting a bar that's much higher than where it was. I'm just saying.
Right.
Just saying, you gotta take your own value. You gotta admit to yourself, I might not be in my best phase of life right now, but she's happy and satisfied, and so am I, and I have a clean butthole.
What
There's-
Heather's trying to say. What Heather's
There
trying
is
to say
no
is that
version
you
of this where I come out on top.
No, there's not.
Does it?
Heather's trying to say that you're basically a big fish in a small pond who managed to leap over a reasonably high pole.
Alrighty then.
I don't know if I'd phrase it like that, but all right.
Or what'd you say? Like oh, high bar, a pole. You jumped on the pole.
I don't know about the fish thing. I don't know. I don't know what analogy to use for this.
It's all a horrible.
The fish thing is,
but the point is, it's like generally unwise, right? Because there is a very real chance, because I've seen it happen to other people before, where everything seems perfect, and then they go out there to have this nice long distance relationship, and then the dude just turns out to be totally different, or the chick turns out to be totally different, or they both turn out to be totally different and just horrible for each other. And,
I mean, Brawny, you're correct, but the same thing happens with people who grew up in church together and their parents know each other and then they get married. The same thing can still happen.
Yes, it
And
can,
say,
but I don't think it happens as much.
Though I took a risk, it was a very calculated risk. I made sure, like,
But
here's
boy,
the
am I
thing,
bad at
I'll
math.
put as a disclaimer, guys, I'm gonna put down actual advice. When pursuing a relationship through online community, you have to be safe about it. If it wasn't as abrupt as we're making it sound here, I didn't just like start dating Brawny, we never saw each other, and then I decided to move in with him. That's not how it happened. We dated online long distance for quite a few years, and we'd met up occasionally at conventions. Yeah. We'd hang out a lot, and I made sure to like meet him in person several times beforehand for number one, to know he's not a catfish. And before I moved with him, I made sure people in my life knew who he was. I brought him to my family. I really felt this out and took my time before I decided to make such a big leap. Brawny has spent like several weeks and days at a time before we moved in together, like being in situations where like I had to test him and like make sure he was committed. And you always got to be safe and make sure you're not like a serial murder rapist. And he passed all the tests. Yeah. He passed all the tests. Yeah, he was not a serial murder rapist.
Exactly. I think that's the part that you don't realize, Brawny, is you're like, oh wow, Heather took a risk on me, but actually you passed a lot of creeper tests before Heather moved in or showed interest.
There was never at any point where you took advantage of my trust, where I consider myself smart and could probably see some, people fall for it at different times, but there was no sign of gaslighting. There was no sign that you could have something iffy about you that might lead to something illicit or abusive. Okay, yeah, I was looking for red flags. Do not always be on the lookout for red flags. Don't discount anything. And I was always pretty open with anything that bothered me and made sure there was things I could deal with and just assuage my worries. It's before with someone in an online community you start a relationship with, you have to be very open with your communication. You got to make sure you really know each other and be safe. Definitely you don't just I didn't go off and get a hotel with him the first few times I met him or anything. That would have been kind of dangerous. I mean, I wasn't worried.
Or if you do, it's a con hotel with 7 people or something.
Exactly. That's always what Brawny's situation was. There's always ways to keep tabs on where we were and what we were doing, and I always made sure people knew where I was. So if something were to have happened, it would have been found out really quick. Me and my friend who was in California, I won't name her on stream because all I know is her real name. I don't know her screen name, but whenever I would do anything like that, I'd always and that's also for my OkCupid dates. Whenever I was about to go on one, because she would use the app at the same time, I would send her a picture, be like, this is the guy I'm going with. This is where I'm going. This is how long it's going to be. This is probably when I'll get home. Make sure to text me at these intervals. I do that with my mom, and I do that with Juanita. As a woman, and
if I'm not back in 2 hours, bring the guns.
Bring the guns. We're in California. We don't have guns. Get the
they have
that
them.
pointy rock that we say is a paperweight, quote unquote.
Oh, there are plenty of guns in California.
You just gotta have them. But yeah, whenever it comes to online community stuff, dating in general, you always gotta make sure you're safe. I never wore any skirts on the first few dates with someone. Never wore any skirts for very obvious reasons. You always want to be able to move comfortably and quickly if you have to.
Okay, that's a good strat.
Yeah. So, never wear a skirt on the first few dates. Don't wear a skirt. Don't wear a dress. Don't wear shoes that you can't walk or run in comfortably.
I love how Rusty Helm says, if anything, Brawny tends to gaslight himself.
Yeah, that was always
he tends to gaslight me. Have you listened to the show? It's his favorite pastime.
You don't buy it.
You're the one.
No, I don't.
You're the one gaslighting me.
Oh my god, that's spoken like a gaslighter.
You're gaslighting.
No, you.
No, you.
Uno reverse card. Draw 4 wild.
Oh no, you got to the draw 4 wild before I could.
The point is,
damn, Gamer Aliens banned.
Jesus Christ!
Not
you
really.
guys, stop playing Uno.
No, he goes. Heather is mid twice. Shut the frick up, you cringe lord.
That's funny.
Oh Jesus!
But okay, Heather, what's your point?
I made sure I was safe. My point is, I did at every step of the mile. I always made sure I was safe and very informed of my decisions. There's still a risk. Like maybe Brawny was playing the long con, and as soon as he got me over here, he was gonna kill me and wear my skin as a suit. But that didn't happen. But he probably wouldn't have gotten away with that for very long. I made sure I also knew people in the area who were also probably not murderers. Hey, Cordero.
Hi.
You're not a murderer.
As far as I know.
As far as I know, too. So, every step of the way, I made other steps to ensure I was safe. And I always kind of had a backup plan in the back of my head if things suddenly went tits up over here. So, anyhow, every step of the way, I tried my best to be safe. I took very calculated risks. And that's what you got to do in all these dating situations. Real life, online life. Everything's a risk. You can't get through life without taking any of them. You just got to make sure you make the right calculations.
Yeah.
Some of us may be bad at math, so I'd look at online resources, believe it or not, for advice on dating.
So
yeah, to take Heather's point and well, she actually kind of already did this, and bring it back to the larger point, which Heather kind of said it, and I'll say it in another way. Whether it's in real life dating or online dating, it comes down to the wisdom and the intuition of the person looking. And if you are wise in how you look and you follow your intuition with people and give them those tests, like go slow and look for those signs that somebody is a weirdo or creep, it's largely safe to just as safe to date online as it is to date in real life if you have that. So basically, part of the skill of coupling is learning how to find someone who is not just a good match for you, but safe. And I think humanity has more experience doing that in person, and it's just a slight evolution to learn how to do that through an internet medium, because there's a layer of separation, a layer of abstraction, if you will, between you and the other person. So what online dating does is, it's not that it's illegitimate, it just adds an extra layer. So it's like, okay, we met online, we have a relationship, a telecommunications relationship, like we experienced each other from afar, but that means that if we want to actually be together and live together, we have the extra step of meeting in person and developing the in-person relationship. That still is a necessity. It's just that with the advent of online dating, it's now become an extra step instead of being built in because you're in the same community physically.
And if you're going to online date, I would say like
you did.
Yeah. I would say the way Heather and I went about it is probably the best way to do it, which is very similar to what I would always tell people to do in real life, which is the first step, put dating out of your mind entirely. And that way you're in a group, and you always want to make sure that you have some common values and at least one hobby in common, and then the rest you can pick up through each other and have fun and expand your horizons. But you do that online or in a regular online or offline in your friends group. If you have dating out of your mind, then you're just genuinely being a friend. And then if attraction, mutual attraction develops out of that, that's all for the better. So regardless of whether or not you're online or offline, make sure that you really get to know the person well first, and it's best if, like, I've had 2 relationships, and I've been longtime friends with both of them before we started dating, and each one of them lasted multiple years. So I think that's a pretty good strategy, and everyone else I've seen who does the same thing also had pretty long-lasting relationships, if not full-on successful marriages. But I do think dating online or being long distance in general carries other challenges and additional risks, and for the most part, long distance relationships don't work. Like, Heather and I are an exception, not the rule. So I certainly wouldn't put your eggs in that basket if you find yourself in a similar situation.
Long distance dating, that kind of dating doesn't work if you don't take the next step. Like, it's limited. You can only be like online date from afar or long distance date for so long before you have to take the next step to grow and develop, or else it'll just it's not that, like, it's what I said before. You have to take that extra step. That's the point I was making. And if you don't make that extra step, then you're not going to be able to have like a serious dating relationship or marriage or whatever. You have to make that in-person step eventually.
Indeed. Heather, do you want to add anything to that?
I think I've given the most important advice that I'd want to give about how you always got to be safe and take calculated risks with dating, online and otherwise. So I'd probably turn it over to you, see if anybody in the chat has had any questions about this kind of thing.
I haven't.
Now is the time.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen any other questions. So we'll give you guys a couple of minutes out in the chat if you want to throw any other questions or topics at us for the next few minutes.
Yeah.
Pardon
me. Herman said, make sure you're happy on your own before you try to be happy with someone else, which was a quote of advice from a friend who just had their 26th year wedding anniversary, or is about to. Yeah, that's the point. That's definitely the point Brawny was just making. It's the point that I made in the last love thing when we were talking about relationships, where it's important to just be yourself and be comfortable being your own person before you even care about dating or even think about that. And when you're joining a community or you're looking for people online, you're just looking for a community or friendships and just meeting people and having common interests. Like, don't necessarily, as Brawny said, be looking for love through these online communities. But if you just live your life in online communities, you might be surprised what you find. And the same thing in real life.
Yeah.
Yep, you gotta be zen and genuine about it. Now, something we were talking about on the last debate was how, we all mutually hated the idea of the grandiose gesture winning the heart of the girl, right?
No. I'm not saying no to you. The freaking cat's trying to get my plate.
the grand romantic gesture, which is dumb.
Yeah, now there's a little bit of an asterisk to that I wanted to talk about that I didn't get a chance to on the last debate, is that these days for myself, like, I sure as heck didn't do that. It's going to sound weird, but at no point did I really try to impress Heather until after we started dating. And now, like, if she'll come home and I've gotten her a food that she likes, or I bought her a gift. So her love language involves generosity and acts of kindness and things like that. So I try to do that as much as possible these days, now that we are dating. And but it comes from a more genuine place, where it's reciprocated or felt the way that it's intended. I feel like I'm jumbling my words here. Heather, save me.
No, it makes sense.
Okay, so I get what you're saying. I believe when I took that test or whatever, my love language was gift giving. I am a material girl. I'm not saying I'm a gold digger and I can be bought, because if I was a gold digger, Brawny would have like $1 bazillion or something. But
Yeah, I was gonna say you found the wrong hole.
the hole.
This mine is
Anyhow.
empty.
Anyhow. Yeah, he gives me gifts, and there isn't like a pressure with it. If you're just starting to date someone, or if he wasn't even dating me yet and he was showering me with all these gifts, I'd feel very uncomfortable with them. I like to receive presents from people I am already comfortable with, and it's a nice treat, and I know there's no strings attached, or I know they're not trying to get something out of me. When Brawny gives me these presents, I know it is not an expectation of like physical favors or any kind of other affection.
Yeah.
Like, if I just said, "Oh, thanks, hon, that was nice," and just carried on, he'd be perfectly fine with that. But, you know, sometimes I'll be like, "It's the best!" Or, like, he'll bring me freaking Krispy Kreme donuts. He knows I'm, like, I got, like, a freaking boner for those donuts. Every time they have a limited time freaking specialty donut kind of thing, he'll bring me that kind of dozen. And I'll be like, Krispy Kreme. He'll be like, yeah, you can eat your Krispy Kreme. And I'll give him a hug or something, and he'll hug me back and crack my back, so I got 2 presents. Good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I think to add an addendum to my hatred of the large romantic gesture, the large romantic gesture is terrible to win the person over. You can't establish a relationship or confirm a relationship with a large romantic gesture. It doesn't work. But as Heather was just alluding to through her example, is that a large romantic gesture does work and can work in an established relationship, or where there actually is a connection between the two people. So
Yeah,
like that's the part that people are missing, is they think, oh, if I just do the large romantic gesture, she'll finally want to be with me, which in Hollywood told them that that's how they should think. Whereas like the cool thing about large romantic versus small romantic gestures is when you have that relationship with someone else and you the two of you really care about each other, suddenly the difference between a large romantic gesture and a small romantic gesture really isn't very much. And that was the point that I didn't quite get to make 2 weeks ago, because I did say that it's all about the small romantic gestures, because when you have a really good relationship with someone and two people love each other, the small romantic gestures are large. Like just being like, babe, here's your Krispy Kreme donut. Oh, thank you so much. Ooh, crack your back in a hug. Like that is a large romantic gesture to the two of you, because it means something to the two of you. So like once you're in the relationship, you know, you can drop a donut on your loved one, you can drop a car on your loved one in the driveway, not literally on top of them.
Don't drop a car on me.
Next
Please.
to them. Drop a car next to them. Like either way.
Ruin the
like,
suspension.
Exactly.
Shit.
We're gonna have to clean you off the car. But yeah, but
Oh,
you get my point.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. And I will say, those romantic gestures oftentimes, and I don't know if I brought this up last time, are completely thoughtless. Like, they aren't thinking of what their, you know, the love interest is actually interested in. And I actually remember a scene from a Disney Channel movie. I think it was called Starstruck or some crap. I didn't care for it. But there was one scene where, like, the main guy goes into the girl's, like, homecoming dance. She's hanging out with her friends, and he's, like, a pop star. And he just starts singing one of his songs at the dance, unprompted, and goes to her and tries to win her over. And she goes, like, why the hell do you think that's what I want? Because her whole thing is that she didn't care about him as a celebrity, and that's what made her interested in her. So she's like, why would you think I'd give a crap if you'd go to my homecoming dance and sing one of your dumb songs for me? I don't like your songs. I am not interested in this. That's another thing about the big romantic gestures that I hate, is because it doesn't take the interest of the love interest at heart, you know, like it's completely thoughtless. It's just a generic thing that everyone would, like, most women probably like. And like for the main character of Starstruck, like I'm just saying, like the bookish type like that, she's not going to be impressed by you singing her a stupid pop song at the homecoming dance. Like, what if her version of a big romantic gesture is like renting out a public library just for her to go through all by herself one day? Like, maybe that's her romantic gesture.
Now remember,
or maybe her
kids.
romantic gesture. What?
Remember, kids. Life is not a dating simulator.
It's not a dating simulator. It's not a movie. If you want to do any gesture for anyone, you have to actually think of who this person is as a person and what they'd actually like. Like, if I if my big romantic gesture was like, what's a thing that a lot of guys generically like? Like if I got Brawny a freaking Mustang, you know, a lot of guys would probably think that's an awesome big romantic gesture. But personally, Brawny, I don't think he really like that. He'd be like, wait, how much did you spend on this? Wait, I don't need this. I already have a car. Now do we have 2 cars to pay off, or do we just have one? How does it do on gas? That's not a good romantic gesture for Brawny.
Yeah, in that situation, yeah.
I hate how accurate your impersonation of me is.
I know you very well, if you haven't noticed.
This Mustang gets 10 gallons to the mile.
You know what would be a romantic gesture that I wish I could do for you one day, I don't know if I can, is paying off the car you have. I think you would love that. You'd be like, oh, honey, you shouldn't have. You could have used that toward your car payment or something like that. But I know sure as shit you'd appreciate that because that's another payment you don't have to make in a month.
Yep,
That's
and then
kind of
that's
gesture
three,
you'd like.
and then that's $300 a month. That's instead going to get you some Krispy Kreme.
Exactly. There's side benefits. Though that obviously isn't the main motivation, but that is something I know Brawny would appreciate. He's all about being financially responsible and getting ahead and things like that, and that's why that gesture would work.
Alrighty then. Cosmet and Spirit says, who are your favorite couples outside of MLP? And I'm going to assume that Cosmina means fictional characters.
So Equestria girls? I don't understand the question. There's ponies and only ponies. Nothing else exists.
There's yeah, so I'm gonna assume we're talking about fictional characters.
Yeah.
Totally. I was a big fan of Voltron Legendary. I think it was Legendary Defender, the newer one on Netflix. I loved the shit out of that show. My favorite ship was the Red Paladin and the Blue Paladin. I think it was Keith and Lance. So it was called like Lance, Keith and Lance. It was the typical red versus blue, rivals to lovers kind of thing. They weren't canonically a couple. It's just what us in the fandom did because that's what we do. It was classic. It was nice. That's just an old one that came up to my head. Outside of Pony, I mean, do self-inserts count?
No.
Damn it.
Cordero, what do you think?
Well, the book I recently read, Crescent City, Athalar and Bryce was a pretty freaking good relationship. I can't get over that book. That book is great.
Well, tell us a little bit about it.
So Crescent City, I'm actually sort of writing a Crescent City fanfiction right now. It's set in the MLP universe because this book inspired me so much. But yeah, Crescent City is a urban fantasy romance setting. So it's an urban fantasy romance. So there's like there's magic and magical creatures like fae and angels and fairies and all of these different creatures, but it's also set in like a modern city. Have you ever read urban fantasy? It can be really fun, and it sometimes crosses over with cyberpunk because you have tech and stuff like that. And basically gosh, it's there is no quick way to sum up the plot. It's a slow burner romance where the two you ever heard the two people one bed meme or not meme or trope? The trope.
I know it.
Two people who hate each other sharing the same bed. It's basically one of those done really well. Where they start out not liking each other and then their relationship develops over the whole book, and by the end of the book they're in love, obviously. Spoilers. And so now I'm writing a similar story set in Equestria, where I'm doing the thing where the slow burner two characters thing. But yeah, why did you want to hear about Crescent City?
Because you said it was your favorite ship outside of MLP.
Yeah,
and I had zero context, and I'm assuming I had zero context, and I'm assuming everybody else in the audience had zero context.
Yeah, unless there's another Sarah J. Moss fan in your chat. Who knows? You never know. But yeah, it was just a really good book, and it was just a really well written relationship. Like any romantic relationships that are well written, I could get into, even if it's two characters that I would normally not want to see together. So even if I'm like against the ship on its face, if somebody writes it well, you'll probably convince me. Unless it's like Snape and Teletubbies or something.
You know, I just remembered a very classic one. Batman and Catwoman, or Batman and Wonder Woman. Batman with anybody is hot, except for Batgirl. No.
Batman X Imagination.
Batman X everybody except for Batgirl, or any of the Bat family.
Nice.
I saw a clip.
Batman is just really good.
I saw a clip from Batman Beyond recently where Terry's talking to Bruce, and he's like, "Oh, you don't understand what it's like to have a girlfriend and be Batman." And he goes, "No, actually I do. When I was your age, women used to throw themselves at my feet all the time." And Terry goes, "Well, what did you do?" And he goes, "I stepped over them."
I remember that. Yeah.
Just such
I thought you were going to reference a totally different scene from that show, because like there was at one point where Terry kind of got emotionally invested in like someone from the Royal Flush gang. It was one of the girls, because she was kind of in a bad space. But he's like at the end of it, he has to turn her in or something, and he turns to Bruce Wayne, and he's just like, "Do you have any idea what this is like? You know, being emotionally invested in a woman who's on the wrong side of things?" And he goes like, "Let me tell you something about a lady named Selena Kyle." And it's like, oh, Catwoman. Catwoman was his one.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's
Love Catwoman.
And then he got trapped by Talia al Ghul.
God, that freaking she freaking took advantage of Batman while she was drugged. That she's an abuser, and also Damian's a little shit. I mean, I don't blame him for what happened. Obviously, that wasn't his fault. But like, God, the Batman versus Robin movie, and like the Court of Owls movie, it's just he was just terrible. That Damian Wayne, he was always so stuck up, and I hate the way he talked to Dick Grayson to be like, "You realize the Wayne Enterprises and all that company and stuff will be mine once Batman's gone. I'm the blood son and you're not." He was just like the epitome of an entitled ass kid. But you know, he also had murderous assassination skills to back himself up, which sucks.
Paladin Pony T says, "Guys, I think you're both wrong. I think the worst parents, but have a great marriage, were Rarity's parents. What do you think?"
Really?
They were definitely good.
We saw them.
We didn't bring them up, but they're solid.
Yeah, we saw them for one episode. As far as I could tell, they were typical parents. I don't know why Sweetie's always over at Rarity's house.
It's because she loves Rarity so much. She even has her own room
sister
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she
and she has her own room at her family's house. We've seen we've seen her parents with her at the Foal and Philly fair or whatever. They seem like very normal, if somewhat embarrassing parents. Like, I mean, look at Rarity and look at her parents. There's a big difference there. Their differences because
Rarity's a pretty tragic character because she's got nothing in common with anybody around her. Her parents are garish and tactless, and she's trying her best to be proper and fashionable, and Sweetie tries, but she's lives with her parents who are tactless and garish and can't as a result. I'm seeing Aang and Katara in the chat, and
it's a good one. I like that one.
That's a good one.
I like Aang and Katara. I mean, it was just so blah, you know.
Sokka and Suki though.
They're okay. You know what I liked was then, like, do you remember when freaking Nickelodeon was doing, like, a rerun of, like, the first few seasons, like Book of Water, and they had little factoids coming up with, like, commentary from the creators? Like, I liked that at the beginning, the original plan was to get Zuko and Katara together. Come on. Freaking water and fire. I love that kind of thing. Opposite ends of the spectrum.
I don't hate it.
Not a lot of people don't, and like even I could see it. I'm glad they stayed friends. I think that, like, I can't really justify it off the top of my head, but I'm glad they stayed friends. I think that would have been a stronger friendship than a relationship.
We'll see, but I mean, we won't see. But like, yeah, it's just one that I would have liked to see more than what we got, because it was more like, I don't know, it felt very juvenile, that relationship between Katara and Aang. I really
Probably
don't
because they were kids.
Yeah, but I really don't get it, like, going into them being adults and stuff. I don't get it. I guess they're both pretty nice people and they would get along really nice. It's a relationship that I don't find interesting, I guess, is what it is at the end of the day. I can't think of anything wrong with it because there is nothing wrong with it. It's just lame. Not interesting to me.
Will Eisen says, I come in and I come in at the end to hear Damian Wayne getting beat down. Good.
Forget Damian Wayne.
He goes, are we talking about the worst parents in media? Timmy Turner's parents.
Oh, yeah, they always left him with an abusive babysitter who would never listen to him. They were pretty dumb.
Yep, and then he says Jimmy Neutron's parents are based. I don't know, I don't think I ever watched either of these shows, so...
I did, and I will say that Jimmy Neutron's parents, mostly his mom, handled things very well for having a genius son who could literally make a time machine.
So, Cordero, have you ever watched Jimmy Neutron?
No, but I feel like I missed out because, like, when Jimmy Neutron came out, I'm like, that looks stupid. And then long after Jimmy Neutron was done, everybody has fond memories of it now.
I thought so too when I first saw the previews for the movie and stuff, but then I watched the movie, I'm like, hey, I actually like this. And the show kept going on, and I liked the show.
Yeah.
I want to rewatch it. It's definitely the CG style. It's like you either like it or you don't. Honestly, the freaking logo they had for their like animation studio with the three-eyed monkey creeped me the hell out as a kid. But
Fair.
like you get used to it, and it's very good for what it is. Might even rate it above Fairly Odd Parents because Fairly Odd Parents fell into like a rut with a lot of its writing, and it's like its animation is decent, but it got better in Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom's another good one. I don't like how it ended, and I don't like the end pairings on that one, I'm going to say.
Hold on, who said it? I forget who said it, but somebody was talking about Zuko and Mai from The Last Airbender, and I don't think
They're
that was...
goals.
Yeah, that's true, and they have that in common, but that carries a lot of baggage with it, and therefore they ended up not being a good couple.
Yeah, they broke up like canonically and forever in the comics, didn't they?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, you can't. It's very difficult. Like they've both got too much baggage that they both have to work through before they can really be in a relationship.
Dude. So did they canonically say who Zuko's wife was in like canon at any point?
Oh, I don't think so, but we know he got married because he had a grandson in Korra. So.
I'm gonna write that fanfic.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know who Toph's frickin' lovers were either, because she never got married.
She doesn't even know.
Yeah, she never got married but had 2 kids. Well, she knows, she just doesn't care.
It's like I don't really.
Which is not. God, I hated the way they did Toph extra dirty. Like they did a lot of characters dirty in Korra, but they did Toph extra dirty.
Like, what was she doing in frickin' Korra? Was she just hanging out in the middle of like a rocky place and was just like, yeah, I'm gonna chill here?
She was hanging out in like the swamp. Remember the swamp that had like
get out of my swamp.
Yeah, she was hanging out in like the giant swamp with the world tree at the in like the center of the planet, and she could do all of her earthbending there and just be away from society.
Well, what's wrong with that? Like, that sounds like a chill way she'd want to retire. It's like, I'm just going to earthbend in the woods.
Yeah, that's fine, but, like, the being a failed parent thing is what I don't like. And all of the...
To be fair, I don't know how else I'd see her as with parenting. Like, it's hard to imagine her as a parent with just her very blunt self. Like, I'm not gonna say she'd be absolutely terrible or abusive, but she doesn't exactly have that nurturing touch, and especially if she didn't have a partner in all of that consistently to like help balance her out, I wouldn't have seen that going very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would definitely be a journey for her, the nurturing side.
Oh, that was definitely, there was another thing that I just remembered really freaking bugged me, is that she was always very like she valued honesty and integrity, like in above all things in The Last Airbender. And then we see her in Korra, and every time we get her in a flashback, she's like covering up. She's like covering up for her delinquent daughters. and that rubbed me the wrong way too.
I wasn't aware of that part. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, if anything, I would expect she'd be the one putting them on blast and chewing them out for anything they do.
yeah, exactly. But she was covering for them constantly, and people were getting screwed and hurt because of it. And that is not tough as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Did anybody else see any chat that they wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
Ooh.
Spencer says Emerald Spencer says Toph would have been a better parent if she had that life-changing field trip with Zuko.
True.
That's what she's missing in her character development. Damn it, Zuko.
Undetermined says just randomly found this. Well, I hope you're enjoying the show, and we hope to see you back. All right, anything else we should tackle?
I think one thing Harriman had brought up that I don't know if we probably addressed was that he said he had made the blanketed statement of marriage is for children. And I want to just say,
What?
I don't think marriage is purely for the production of children. Maybe it was at some point. It certainly isn't now. It's like, because people have children out of wedlock all the time and decide, hey, I don't want to marry you, but we're going to co-parent and stuff. It's just like something that children are not exclusive to marriage. They are not a party in marriage. Marriage is between, at this point in time, marriage is between two consenting individuals who have to agree on how they're going to live together and conduct their lives. A child could certainly be in that equation, but a child should not be the determining factor of if you get married or if you stay married or if a marriage ends.
God damn it, Heather! You said marriage is for children, and my brain is just imagining 9-year-olds being forced to marry.
Will you get what it's marriage is not for the procreation.
It's okay, Cordero. It's okay, Cordero. This isn't Iraq. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, you just have to go to like one of the southern states, and it will be your problem to be married as a 13-year-old or something.
No.
Does that happen?
No, yes, I saw a freaking article for that. I should have read more into it, but it's just like
I think you should have, because that's not legal.
Bible Belt child marriages?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, let's get the age of consent lowered for marriage, and I'm like, why
Awkward.
though? Why would you want that?
Let's raise the age of consent and the voting age.
I'm gonna need a source.
Don't worry, I'll look it up. Although I don't know if I want to give it to you right now, late in the day. You'll just stress yourself out and not go to sleep.
Alrighty then. That sounds like a good time to wrap it up then. We've been at this for a little over an hour and a half. What do you say, guys?
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
So thanks to everybody who came out and watched the stream. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And I hope to see you back if it's the first time you're tuning in on the stream. If you'd like to support the channel, check out all the links in the description. There's plenty of perks for Patreon and Subscribestar. You can set your own subscription or one-time donation in Ko-fi. You can buy merch at TeePublic, and there's a tip jar through Stream Elements there. Very grateful to all of my generous backers on Patreon and Subscribestar, especially the $10 and up tier, such as Princess Heather Blossom and Pony Cordero, who are with us tonight. There's also Shady Oak Ministries, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Senko, DJ Skywalker, Rein-Kun, Morningstar, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden MacManx, EasyModeGamer, Kanto Acrylic VA, Mr. Sonic 31, Ridge the Hedgehog, Alicia Lynette, Zeta Z, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. They all make some pretty good stuff as well that I would highly recommend checking out. Most of their links are in the description as well. So you got a whole lot of research to do. So yeah, have fun with that. If you want to hang out with us some more, tomorrow night, Heather, you're going to be gaming on your channel, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
I just threw the cake really bad again. But yeah, I'm going to be finishing Alan Wake. Hopefully I finish that up soon, and if I finish up Alan Wake earlier, I'm going to switch over to Pokemon Scarlet. I can't wait to get freaking Alan Wake out of the way. And if you haven't had enough of me yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I upload daily. I also have an Etsy shop where you can buy some Evolution stickers or some crocheted items. That's always something to check out. Like and subscribe.
Yep, so 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to see her video game stream. Cordero, you got anything coming down the pipe?
My Crescent City, I'm a thief. Crescent Moon, the story I'm writing, I just added like 9,000 words to it, and posted it up. Basically, I do have a short description of this one. Crescent Moon is basically after Luna's failed rebellion and takeover of Equestria 1,000 years ago, where she was sent to the moon. Her personal husband to be, like her fiance, and also head general, is captured after the battle, and he is forced to become Celestia's personal assassin. And then Celestia forces her personal assassin to be the personal bodyguard of Celestia's personal student, basically the Twilight of 1,000 years ago. And it is a slow burner romance of those two. I'll go ahead and spoil that because that's really obvious by the fact that I call it a romance. It is a slow burner romance of those two, where they will start hating each other and learn to like each other over time. But that's the basic premise: is Celestia's assassin is the bodyguard of Celestia's personal student, and they have to solve the mystery of who is trying to bring down Equestria.
Alrighty then. Sounds pretty good. Will Eisen wants to know, Heather, are you going to do Alan Wake American Nightmare?
God, no. Not unless someone pays me to, because I haven't enjoyed Alan Wake, actually. We have a lot of rage moments during Alan Wake. Why did I get killed by Thomas the Tank Engine? I wasn't playing Choo Choo Charles! But I'm gonna avoid it. If for some reason a patron wants me to play it, or someone pays me a big lump sum to play it, I feel like I'm gonna have no choice but to do so.
Give us money.
Please don't do this.
Give us money.
Please
We're
don't do this.
broke.
Please. Oh no.
Uh-oh. E-begging.
Yes, we are e-begging. I gotta make content creation a full-time career at this point. I'm sick and tired of doing everything else.
Yes, do that.
All right. So I'm glad you all tuned in once again. We will see you next time, either on Heather's stream tomorrow or on Friday Night Fights next week. Until then, stay safe, God bless, and have a wonderful weekend. Say goodnight, everybody.